really want to check it out because he has a lot of nice videos on trains. So I asked him if he could jump on with me. I have PS4 and we have SharePlay. And if you don't know what SharePlay is, it's a way somebody can take over your city and really just make any changes they want. You give them access, complete access to your city. They can save it, they can do anything they want, and it's a really cool feature actually. So he agreed to help me out, and later on in the video I'll put in where he comes in, and I definitely needed him because I found out less is more. So I'll show you that when we get to it, but let's get into this because it's a long video. So first we have to delete all the tracks, and to be honest, that's easy. You just go around and you delete all the train tracks. That's something I could definitely do. So if you didn't know, if you go into trains and you go into tracks, you can use the delete button and it'll only delete train tracks. But what I didn't know was it will also delete not metro, but the monorails. So be careful with your monorails. Once you do that, you can use the bigger tool to go in and delete the train tracks without any problem. As you can see, I'm not deleting any roads, I'm just deleting trains. But I did delete a monorail at one point, but I put it back. Next, we're going to get started running the cargo only. So in here, I just decided that maybe we need one going all the way around. So I was basically looping the cargo around the whole city, so this way I can make a stop at each of the cargo stations before I hook them up to any kind of outside rail. And this is where I come in with, you don't absolutely need a loop going all the way around, and Just Caino taught me that. You only need it going back and forth, and sometimes it actually helps with lessening the traffic by doing that. So I spent a lot of time making this silly little loop, and it took quite a bit of time. But eventually part of this actually gets deleted, because when you go across the ocean there where I was, I have the cargo ship coming in, and it wouldn't fit under the bridge. I could have made the bridge higher, but Just Caino said you don't need it at all. You just need it to go back and forth. So he ended up deleting that because we didn't need it. So another thing I wanted to do was make sure I kept a lot of the train tracks above ground. Now, if they're underground, you can't see, it's not right there in your face what's going on. So if they get backed up, you might not realize it, and then it will affect your city. So you want to try to keep a lot of stuff above ground if possible. Plus, it just really looks cool when it's above ground. You can see what's going on and where they're going. And again, I had very little knowledge of trains, and Just Caino also showed me that you can see where the train is coming from, and you can see where the train is going. And I really didn't pay much attention to trains before this, but now I found it to be really interesting, finding out what city they're coming from, what station they're going to next. And he also taught me something pretty nice. You look at your map and you decide where you want your north, south, east, west to be. And when you do that, then it would help you to look at your city a little differently. So then I knew where my north and my south was, and my west and my east, and I could label the train stations accordingly. So you would have a central station, and then a northwest and a southwest, and it really helps to kind of find placement in your city as well. And I think this would help with not only trains, but anything in your city. If you want to label things a certain way, it works really good. So I think now I'm going to use that technique with newer cities when I start building a newer city. And I think I'm going to use a lot more trains now that I have a better understanding of them. So over here I also learned a new thing, is if you bring this land out just a bit, it does help to line up the train tracks, and then they don't bump up as much. Now the one I did down on the other side, it was a pain to kind of get them to run over into the land, and they made a huge bump. So I did not put any kind of keys in down here, and I just wanted this to kind of have this rough edge, and it makes it so much easier to run the tracks in when you level out the land around it. So that's what I did, just to get these train tracks looking a lot better and level, and not doing that real big bump thing. And yeah, it does help quite a bit to bring the land out. So here I actually have to come back in and level that off just a bit, and you can see it's so much smoother once I get the land level. So because this video started to last over an hour, I decided to cut out certain spots, especially ones that get deleted and redone later on, and I just wanted you to have a general idea of what's going on. I mean, to be honest, I was looking at the footage and you really can't tell where things are in my city while I'm running these trains. I had a hard time figuring out where I was sometimes. So I thought, you're never gonna figure this out if I, keep it all in to understand where it was getting put to begin with. So I did cut out some of it. I think I had something like 4 hours of footage, and that's a lot of footage. So yeah, I did have to cut out some. So here's where Just Caino arrives and takes over my city, and it took, let's say, a good half hour, 45 minutes just for him to go over everything and see where everything was going. I mean, he had to familiarize himself with my city. He didn't, he's seen my episodes, but he's never been in the city and taking control, so he really had to go through so much, and I give him credit. It takes a lot of patience to go through somebody else's city and just go and figure out where everything's going and where it's coming.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. They don't wanna see me care. Anytime I make some progress, I can see that they compare. I think everyone's against me, maybe something in the air. Am I paranoid? I swear a void is forming and they're scared I walk a straight path. Not many can say that. I like to play fast, cross me and there's payback. You better pray that I don't see your face at any place that I go. I know you hate that. I've been doing fine, I'm not wasting any more time. live for the fight and the climb. And I think that the pain that's deep inside is what defines. So I won't give up, I'm gonna make it to the top. I don't care what's in my way, I swear I'm never gonna stop. I could fall flat on my face and I swear I will get back up. Cause I don't deserve a thing and the road ahead is tough. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless.
Ground. He just thinks it'll be a little bit better, and there is no bypass down here as well, and that is something that is necessary because a lot of these trains do not need to connect to every cargo station, and that is something I did not do. I did not bypass any of the cargo stations, so they always need a bypass to get through, so this way if they don't want to stop there, they can just move on and it won't clutter your lines with traffic. Now, he started running them and then needed to leave, and I took over, and I'm really not sure myself at this point, but I go ahead and I start coming in from where he had started, and I run the line just to see how it would run, and I also go down and I change a lot of it. So it was underground, a lot of it. And I really am enjoying now watching the trains go above ground. So I started to make some above ground tracks. And I don't know how realistic it is, but I liked it. So I left it in. And we'll see how it works. So far, I followed the trains. And if you're still here up to this point, stay to the end, because after my outro, I do some train rides. And what a difference. I mean, just look at this. This is a disaster. I had way too many tracks. I had so many things going on, and it's so much nicer and cleaner now. So this is absolutely amazing. Look at this. It is so smooth and it's running so nicely, and I don't think I've ever had a city that had this many trains running so nicely. So thank you again to Just Caino for coming in and really helping me out. So guys, we are finally at the end of our episode, and I don't know if some of you thought this was boring, but I think it's so necessary to know how to run trains. I really need to continue to learn. They really do make or break a city, and they definitely help with the traffic of the roads as well. Because if you have an efficient cargo hub running and cargo tracks running, then they will help push all your goods all over, and that will ease up your traffic on your trucks. So thank you again. I really appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed this, please let me know in the comments. I know it was kind of a little all over the place. It was a lot to take in, but if you like it, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and stick around because we're going to ride some of the passenger trains and take a look at the cargo as well. I also want to apologize in case anybody noticed. I do have a cold, but I did want to get this episode out as soon as possible, so I pushed through it. So yeah, thank you so much again. Next time I think we're going to try that fishing village. And if you could hear the scratching in the background, it's just my dog. I'm sorry about that. And till next time. Bye.
Choose your fighter. Slightly inspired. Fight.